very grateful for that. So, Gaz, just tell us quickly, what are the weather conditions? I mean, it looks to all of us look perfect at the moment, but of course, parachuting needs very particular weather. Absolutely. We do need to do very, very specific set of checks and calculations, and some of you may have seen earlier a small red helium balloon going up into the air, and that wasn't a child releasing a balloon, that was actually a drop zone safety officer, who is Flight Lieutenant Jen Littler. She's down on the drop zone at the moment, and that allows us to track the wind and find out where the cloud is. Now you can see that there's very little cloud today, and it's a beautiful blue sky, but we do have a few winds to contend with, so we need to make sure we get it spot on for the safety of our parachuting. But the good news is, it's a fantastic day for parachuting. And does the French get a little walk back, don't they? They're your words, not mine. However, yes, absolutely. The French parachutists we worked with very recently at their show down in Marseille at Salon Air Base, and they were fantastic. They're very 4 seconds before they pull their canopies, and immediately they'll deploy red smoke and go into the full routine of their display. Now we've got some lovely weather here today and lovely blue skies, so the backdrop of the red, with the red, white and blue of our canopies, will give an absolutely memorable and fantastic display. Remember that, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, you are watching history here today. This is the last jump by a Royal Air Force parachutist or military parachutist from an RAF C-130. And as significant is the crew today, flown by 47 Squadron from RAF Bryce Norton, a squadron that has amazing history and one that has worked with the RAF Falcons for a long, long time. And ladies and gentlemen, here they go, the 2023 RAF Falcons parachute display team. And you should see now, the parachutes are now deploying as the team begin to get into formation, immediately into what we call the snake formation, which is effectively one parachute is behind the other, and they turn 180 degrees back up the jump run. And here come our 3 flag bearers. Once the guys are on the ground, they will very, very quickly get their equipment stowed away and secure, and they will then do the famous Falcons lineup. So those of you down at the flight line near the front will get a great view of the Falcons. And again, a historic moment for us. We'll be doing the lineup today alongside our French counterparts, Team FedEx.
The C-130 Hercules. It's difficult to believe, but in just a few days' time, this aircraft will leave RAF service. One of the very last chances we all have to experience the sight and sound of the C-130 Hercules. Corners of the United Kingdom, as well as occasional visits overseas.
On your travels.
Read that from again. We go down
Go أبو عايض.
flown by Flight Lieutenant Tony Cooper, one of the flight commanders on 64 Squadron in 1944. As well as her involvement in D-Day, AB also pre-sortied in August 1942. During the fierce aerial battle in support of Operation Jubilee and the Dippy Raid, one of her pilots, Flight Sergeant Dixie Alexandra, was credited with destroying a Dornier 217 bomber in AB 910 during these combats.
Fly-by-wire control system was also fitted what's known as air-free handling, not allowing the pilot to take the airplane outside this flight envelope. Now, those of you who remember seeing the Lynx in its Army Air Corps days will remember we used to see the most extraordinary aerobatics being performed by them, including backflips. In civilian hands, those sorts of aerobatic manoeuvres are no longer permitted, but what we do see in this display is something of the Lynx's agility and its still outstanding speed, because this has always been a helicopter that has been tremendously fast, and indeed it's a specially modified Lynx that still holds the outright world helicopter speed record.
The Lynx was in service with both the Army Air Corps and the Royal Navy, and the easiest way to differentiate between the two was the undercarriage, this being an Army version of the skids, perfect for work on Salisbury Plain without sinking into the grass too much, whereas the Navy version had wheels and casters, just the type of thing you need for turning it around and around on the British fighting.
Yeah, that was the raison d'etre, really, or one of them certainly, of the Lynx in Royal Navy service operation from the Royal Navy's smaller ships. And indeed, the team behind flight a former Royal Navy Lynx Mark 8 in due course, which is a very exciting prospect indeed. The one exception to that rule, as Andrew just mentioned, is of course the Mark 9 Lynx of the Army Air Corps, which had a wheeled undercarriage, quite a different beast in many ways, based on the earlier Lynx 3 project.
The design hasn't externally changed much over the years. All single-seat S1 and two-seat S2 are largely based on that original design. Although designed in the early 40s, not many were built immediately, and not against the 50s, it's really the 60s and the 70s.
Yes.
That this aircraft came to the attention of the world through amazing pilots, winning all sorts of awards and trophies, and that still happens today. This is still a formidable display aircraft, especially in the hands of someone like Rich Goodwin. Everything he does style. He doesn't do anything straightforward. Even that takeoff, airborne just a few feet into a hard knife edge, he's just going to spend a second or so sorting himself out before he can enter his display. This is Rich, of course. There's no such thing. He just goes straight into his display.
And there we go, pulling up to about 45 degrees with a roll followed by numerous positive G snap rolls, finishing off inverted, and now using the rudder to bring the aircraft round in a 180 degree inverted flat turn. And a good view of his sponsor's name, Sabio, on top of the wings as well. And that is just magnificent. Pulling away.
Squeeze, you see the one.
Pilot on his own in action. Among the Patricius team, however, teamwork is the key to success. At speeds of around 540 knots and distances of 3 to 5 feet, everything has to fit perfectly. What counts here is flying precision and many years of experience, complete concentration and trust in man and machine. Our pilots are supported by around 15 highly trained and experienced mechanics on the ground.
While the pilots get ready for their next formation, a few insights into the life of the team. Whoever is on the team here must be anonymously chosen by the entire display team. You cannot apply for it. Being here is a great privilege and at last but not least an honor for every team member, but remains a dream for many.
And dear audience, we'll let you dream and admire for a few minutes today. Enjoy these moments with the ambassadors of the Swiss Air Force, the speed sound of our 6 F5 Supersonics Tiger jets.
De indruk in verhaal gaat contact gerealiseerd. Hier het schiet.
Years now. The voice you hear on the radio is live from the cockpit. It's got to understand, it's kind of a mix of German, Italian, English and French. But as soon as you hear dock or go, it means smoke off, or formation change.
Remarkable looking aircraft with tremendous performance. So I think many of us
it was just a bit of a killer.
Have a little tear in our eye when we think about the C-130 leaving service, but it's great to welcome the A400.
Bob Davey then has landed with the Yak 3. And we await the arrival of this very impressive 4-turboprop airlifter, the gestation of which began in the early 1980s as an effort to produce a successor not just to the Lockheed Hercules but also the Transall C-160. And it was in 1994 that a full-size mock-up was shown at the Farnborough Air Show.
So when compared with the C-130 Hercules, this aircraft considerably bigger. It's not quite C-17 size, but it's sort of midway between the C-130 Hercules and the C-17 Globemaster. In the cruise, around about 450, 460 miles per hour. That's some 100 miles per hour faster than the C-130 Hercules. And carry just about double the payload, which is very, very impressive. It also has very good, it can be used strategically, but it's really a tactical airlifter, which means it often has to operate in very small airstrips, sometimes very austere, sometimes completely unprepared. So the whole aircraft is geared to work when it doesn't necessarily have the best surface to operate or even necessarily the best ground support.
Now, on the 22nd of May this year, so just a few weeks back, the RAF received its 22nd example of the Atlas, which completed the delivery, development and production phase. And this is a fleet of aeroplanes that has seen increasing amounts of activity on worldwide operations. This year you might have seen in the news how the Atlas and Hercules fleets took part in the evacuation of
Massive engines, TP400, rated at 11,000 horsepower each. So you are looking at the future tactical air mobility for the Royal Air Force for many, many years to come. This, the A400M Atlas C1.
This aircraft, of course, based at RAF Fry's Norton in Oxfordshire. Numbers 30 and 70 squadrons use the Atlas for global missions. Number 24 squadron conducts crew training, and full operational capability in the tactical role is expected. Now the fleet is complete at 22 aircraft, but they've been working up low-level missions, austere strip operations, use of night vision goggles and so forth. It really has brought some new capabilities or new levels of capability to the RAF. Back in November 2018, an Atlas set a new record by dropping a 23-ton load by parachute over Salisbury Plain, and that was the heaviest load ever airdropped by any UK military aircraft. And it's interesting to point out that it would take a very small number of aircraft of this sort of type, or say a C-17 or indeed a Hercules, to perform the roles and perform the extent of airlift operations that 70 years ago started in Berlin, using hundreds upon hundreds of C-47s, C-54s, Yorks, Hastings and other types.
This particular Spitfire, up of Sierra 853, one of a batch of 79 Mark 19s built by Supermarine at their famous Southampton works. Did see service during the Second World War, very much involved in Operation Crossbow, again trying to find and photograph the launching sites for the German V1 and V2 weapons, the Doodlebug and the V2 rocket, which was armed and windscreen. Along with a few other Mark 19s, it was converted for meteorological work, the very famous thumb flights that Royal Air Force would vote. Temperature and humidity in the upper air masses flight. Soldiered on in that role till 1957 before being retired. 3 Mark 19s joined up with a single Hurricane at Biggin Hill to form the RAF Historic Aircraft Flight, later to be called the Royal Air Force Battle of Britain Memorial Flight. This aircraft powered by the Rolls-Royce Griffon engine. Rolls-Royce at the time liked to name their engines after small birds of Prey and Falcons, etc. Mustang industry by the end of World War II. As a long-range escort fighter with the US 8th Army Air Force from bases in East Anglia, P-51s like this D model were able to accompany Allied heavy bombers, particularly the US Army Air Force's B-17s and B-24s, but also RAF Lancasters and Halifaxes on raids deep into occupied Europe, and crucially accompany them back as well, especially when fitted with auxiliary long-range fuel tanks. And this Mustang, which is owned by Warbird Experiences at Biggin Hill, but operated by the Rolls-Royce Heritage Flight from East Midlands, carries the markings of the personal aircraft of one of the greatest of all American aces of the Second World War, Colonel Don Blakesley, the commanding officer of the 4th Fighter Group stationed at Debden in Essex. Many 8th Air Force must display, but he won't make that call until approximately 10 seconds out from the display line. Royal Air Force Cosford, looking to your rear, please put your hands together for the 2023 Royal Air Force Aerobatic Team, the Red Arrows. Red 1 pulling the team up at 4 to 5G and over 400 miles per hour as they collapse from the wall formation, which is approximately 200 feet from wingtip to wingtip, into 8th arrow formation. As the team now start to accelerate back towards the ground, Red 1 will bring the formation round to the left. Red 1 is squad leader Tom Moe. Tom is in his 3rd and final year as Red 1. He is a former team member from 2014 through to 17, where he was the synchro leader in 2017. He is a former Typhoon pilot, a former qualified flying instructor on the Hawk T-Mark II, and he was also an instructor on the Tucano, where he was the Tucano display pilot in 2010. The smoke comes on for the 8th Arrow present. Keep your cameras trained on the formation for a dynamic shape change as 7 and 8 perform a rollback to change the shape from 8th Arrow into Vixen. As the team come around to the right, you'll see the team formed in a formation known as Short Diamond. Of course, you would normally have 9 aircraft, and you'll see earlier this year the video from Officer Commanding Rafat explaining that we are not a 9 this year down to safety, as we can only train 3 new pilots each year, and the maths just simply didn't work out for this year. However, our aim is to be at our famous trademark Diamond 9 for next year, as Red 1 brings the team around to the right for the Vixen roll. As the team rolls to the left on the right hand side of Red 1 is Red 2, Flight Lieutenant Rich Walker. Rich is in his 1st year on the team, is a very experienced aviator. He has flown on operations on both the Harrier and the Typhoon. He's also been a qualified flying instructor for them being that far back in the formation to see Red 1. As Red 1 brings the formation around the left for the Eagle present. So far we have seen the Apollo space mission formation and now the Eagle landing craft formation. This is a nod to the importance of space, as the Royal Air Force acknowledges that space plays a vital role in all future military operations.
Red 1, and the abort call is made from Red 7, as 7 and 8 roll around the smoke of the rest of the formation. You'll notice that the formation are flying with their air brakes out. That is the small door at the base of the aircraft towards the rear. This means that the throttle is now at a higher setting, which the hotter engine gas temperature, and it also disturbs the airflow out the back of the aircraft. This means that the smoke will burn a lot more brightly and will billow a lot more fuller, which enhances the manoeuvre, such as tornado. To 100 feet above the airfield and a closing speed of over 800 miles per hour. Coming in from our left hand side is Red 6, the synchro leader, squadron leader James Turner, known as JT. JT is in his 4th year on the team, a former Typhoon pilot and former qualified flying skipper of the Hawk team. In the white smoke from Red 6. He rolls inverted, he makes the call. Red 7 and 8, the red and blue go on as they roll around the smoke of Red 6. And he's flown Typhoon on operations with 11 and 12 squadron at Royal Air Force Coningsby. Roll around the red smoke of Red 6 in Vortex. Get your cameras ready for Hannah's last break of the show, the Hannah break. Once again, Red 6 off to our left and Red 7 off to our right. Each aircraft will form a derry turn, come up to approximately 1,500 feet for their final manoeuvre of the show. A series of barrel rolls and inverted flights as they perform the crossbow. Look directly to your front with Enid smoked in white. The red smoke comes on as Red 1 rolls around the formation, leaving the infinity symbol in the sky for the infinity break. Royal Air Force Cosford, it's been an absolute pleasure. Please put your hands together for the 2023 Royal Air Force Aerobatics team, the Red Arrows!
Now flying on the UK Civil Register, along with their Army counterpart, Scout, and they're a really popular private-owner helicopter. It's actually quite a good way of what Waspo was telling me a few months back, of getting into historic helicopters if you're interested in them, because although of course it has certain complexities, it is a type that you can, if you have a helicopter license, quite readily learn to fly, learn the quirks of, and then gain a lot of satisfaction out of owning and flying. Navy Wings Heritage Flight aeroplanes, of which the flagship is very much the Fairy Swordfish, with a second one hopefully in the not too distant future to join that in airworthy condition. They also now have the ex-Kenneth Aviation Supermarine Seafire in their own fleet, and as I say, a variety of aircraft that are provided on an as-and-when basis by private owners, including Stinson Reliant, amongst others. It's very interesting on the occasions when they fly together to compare the Wasp here to the Swordfish, given that they were very much intended for that same anti-submarine role in different eras.
Ladies and gentlemen, our aircraft is now approaching from crowd rear, so I'd like to give you a moment to appreciate the roar of the iconic engines as they make their approach now. And one we hope will stay with you for a long time after this display. Displaying for you is one of only 2 flying Lancasters in the world, PA-474. Avro Lancaster PA-474 is one of, as I said, one of only 2 of these iconic 4-engine heavy bombers still airworthy out of nearly 7,400 that were built. She is a flying memorial to all those that served in Bomber Command and to those who tragically lost their lives. And this year we've remembered Operation Chastise, known as the Dambusters Raid, which took place 80 years ago this year. Was built at the Vickers Armstrong Broughton factory at Wharton in 1945 at the end of the war. She did not see service in any operational theatre. The aircraft joined the BBMF in 1973, marking this her 50th year with us. PA-474 was officially adopted by the City of Lincoln in 1975, and permission was granted for the aircraft to display the coast. Our ability to keep these beautiful aircraft flying today is down to the incredible work and unique skill set within our small engineering team, who work all year round to maintain the aircraft in the safe the condition for everyone to enjoy. This includes deploying every weekend throughout the summer to provide engineering support after each display flight, and undertaking deep maintenance activity throughout the winter period on each of the aircraft. of the Battle of Britain Memorial Flight, we offer two fantastic membership options through our partners, the BBMF Official Club and the Lincolnshire-Lancashire Association. Membership to either organisation offers...
None of them have landed in the pub. Because that is impressive.
That's what they did for me, wasn't it?
Yeah,
A bunch of them landed.
and that's when you really heard them. Because they'd be about as far away as that runway is, and they'd put the brakes on and fire them up.
And again, that's why they stopped doing it, because the fuel.
One of them doing stalls and flips and turns.
I think that's supposed to. You've got to think it's like millions of people.
So before it was two or three
and then you can follow the different cameras.
So with that mighty sound slowly fading into the distance, what a delight it was to welcome the Lancaster here to Cosford to close the show, and what a wonderful way to close the show. That is the end of the flying programme we have for you here at Cosford 2023. The showground will remain open. As I did mention, if you could delay your departure, maybe just for a short time, that will help everyone get away in the best order possible. So before we sign off, I'd like to ask my colleagues for a few final words. First of all, Jonathan. Jonathan, it's been quite a day.
It has, and despite a few cancellations, I think we've had a really good programme of flying. The continuity...